the smell of ink, and turpentine. I'm Nellie, 45, a senior office clerk. My life is like the documents I handle, precise, orderly, monotonous. For 20 years, my world has been made up of printing, filing, and replying to emails. I've never been in love, not for lack of feeling, but because whenever a faint spark began to flicker, I extinguished it myself with caution and timidity. Everything stayed the same until I bought an old house on the outskirts of the city. Then, as if some invisible hand had rewritten my life script, new roles and turns appeared. Hatton was 36, an interior designer enthusiastically recommended by a friend. The day he stepped into my cluttered, dust-filled new home, the afternoon sun passed through the grimy windows, outlining him in a hazy glow. He wore a soft linen shirt, sleeves carelessly rolled, revealing tanned forearms and a modest watch. He smelled faintly of ink, turpentine, and cologne a world apart from the sterile scent of disinfectant and copier toner I was used to. I tried, half incoherently, to describe my vision of home: warm, comfortable, subtly personal, but never showy. He listened patiently, nodding, answering in that calm voice, and with those blue eyes that smiled as they watched me, making my pulse quicken. He spoke about the flow of light, the poetry of space, dropping bits of art history or little golf anecdotes. He was young, confident, magnetic-like, a beautifully bound book, whose cover I dared not open, only admire from afar. I knew he was married. The ring on his finger reminded me constantly of the boundary between us, so I folded away that tender, aching attraction and tucked it deep inside. Throughout the renovation, I played the role of the rational client, though my eyes always strayed toward him as he measured, sketched, or spoke to the workers. Excuses after completion. The renovation finished beautifully. It was no longer just a house, but a warm harbor carrying my breath and dreams. Hatton's design had given it a soul. By logic, our professional relationship should have ended. Yet somehow, both of us began finding excuses to keep in touch. He would message, "Nellie, there's a new version of that dining room light fixture. It should fit your color scheme better. Want to see it?" And I would reply, "Hatton, I still can't find the right painting for the living room mini. Advice from my expert?" We chatted online, then met by coincidence at galleries, cafes. Our conversations drifted far beyond interior design. We talked about Vermeer, about Austin, his golf difficulties, office gossip. Around him, the dull, 45-year-old clerk eye was seen to fade, replaced by a woman who could be seen, heard, and appreciated. I sensed he liked me too, not only as a client. His gaze warmed. Light touches, like his fingers brushing mine when handing me coffee, made my skin tremble. We danced an unspoken waltz of hesitation, each too cautious to step further and shatter the fragile balance. A dinner invitation and sparks at the lips. One Friday night we were chatting online and somehow started talking about food. I mentioned my confidence in one dish, beef bourguignon. He replied quickly, "Really? That sounds irresistible. Honestly, I can't resist good food. Any chance I could taste your cooking sometime?" My heart leapt. Invite him over. Wasn't that crossing the line? Reason said no, but something long suppressed urged my fingers to type. "Sure, if you don't mind simple home cooking. How about next Wednesday evening?" That night, I cooked all afternoon, set the table with my best dishes and candles, put on a silk dress I rarely wore. The mirror reflected a woman with flushed cheeks and a strange brightness in her eyes. He arrived on time with a fine bottle of Burgundy. The atmosphere began tense, but wine soon softened both of us. Candlelight shimmered. His eyes shone warm. Then, as I rose to clear dessert plates, he gently caught my hand. His palm was broad and warm. "Nellie," he said, voice low and rough, "from the first time I saw you, I knew you were special, quiet, gentle, hiding a whole universe." I froze. My breathing faltered. He leaned close, and his lips met mine. It was a kiss, scented with the rich aroma of red wine, tentative and gentle at first, then passionate and deep. His arm wrapped around my waist, pulling me close. I responded awkwardly, as if 45 years of pent-up emotions had found an outlet at that moment. Like dry land finally absorbing this unfamiliar nourishment, my mind was blank, only aware of his scorching body temperature, his strong embrace, and the dizzying entanglement of our lips and tongues. This kiss ignited something. His kisses began to trail down my neck, his hands sliding from my waist to caress my back through the silken fabric. An unfamiliar emptiness rose from deep within my stomach, and I couldn't help but let out a soft moan. "Nellie, I want you," he whispered breathlessly in my ear, his hot breath fanning the shell of my ear. The words were like a bucket of cold water, instantly waking me up. I was jolted out of my trance, my body stiffening. "No, Hatton, wait." I pushed him away, embarrassed and flustered. I don't have experience." I heard. "It hurts." I barely managed to utter the last few words, my cheeks burning alarmingly. A 45-year-old woman still a virgin. That sounds like a myth in today's society, a flaw worthy of either mockery or pity. Hatton paused. He didn't laugh at me, nor did he betray any impatience. He simply stared at me, his eyes a complex tapestry of desire, surprise, and above all, a tenderness I couldn't decipher at the time. "Don't be afraid," he whispered, his fingertips gently caressing my cheek. "Let's take it slow. Let me help you. Okay?" He didn't force his way in. Instead, he kissed me again, this time more patiently and guidingly. His hand slipped under the hem of my skirt, slowly tracing its way up my inner thigh, finally resting on the most intimate part of my body, between my legs. I shuddered, instinctively clamping my legs together, but he gently yet firmly stopped me. His fingers, like magic, explored the areas of me I had never seen before, clumsily yet firmly. It started with gentle caresses, then a rhythmic kneading, shame intertwined with an unprecedented pleasure, washing over me like a wave. I bit my lower lip, trying to suppress the blushing sounds, but I couldn't help but let out a broken moan from the depths of my throat. My body was like a bow being gradually stretched to its limit. Then, at a certain moment, it suddenly broke, turning into countless trembling fragments. A strong current of warmth exploded from the point where his fingertips touched, quickly spreading throughout my body, leaving me paralyzed in his arms, gasping for air. He left before morning. I lay awake in a mixture of exhaustion, shame, and strange fulfillment, between pain and comfort. After that night, our relationship changed. We met more often, usually at my house. Hatton was a caring, passionate lover. He tried repeatedly to consummate our bond, but each time pain stopped me. My body tightened in revolt, beyond my control. I hated that weakness 45, and still like a frightened girl. He never blamed me. He would stop, hold me close, whisper, "It's all right, Nellie. We don't have to rush." And so somehow we found a circuitous way to satisfy each other. When pain prevented the final step, I would slide between his legs and delight him with my lips and tongue. For me, this was a devotion-filled expression of love, a way to compensate for my own imperfections. I learned his preferences, feeling his tremors and suppressed growls beneath my lips, which gave me a strange sense of agency and accomplishment. He in turn became increasingly adept at using his hands, lips, and tongue to lead me to peak after peak. Our bodies grew in sync as we explored, but we could never complete the final ritual. This kind of imperfect intimacy is both sweet and bitter, like a touching love song that never reaches the chorus. Sunshine and shadows in Bangkok. For my birthday, we escaped to Bangkok, a place far enough to forget ourselves. In that vibrant city, we acted like a real couple, strolling night markets, visiting temples, dining by the river. At night, wrapped in hotel sheets, the city lights flickering outside, we loved each other in all the ways we could, but still without crossing that final threshold. At the Erawan shrine, he squeezed my hand and whispered a wish. I didn't ask what it was. I silently wished the stolen time would last, but shadows appeared at the end. On our last day, a phone call changed his face. He said it was work, but I knew it wasn't. It was his wife. The bubble burst, the phone call, and the weight of morality. Back home, unease grew. His calls were shorter, distracted. Then one evening my phone rang. "Is this Miss Nellie?" "I'm Hatton's wife." In that cold, calm voice, she revealed she knew about the meetings, the chats, even the trip. She said she didn't call to humiliate me, only to make me understand that Hatton would never leave his family. His life, work, and reputation depended on it. "You gave him something new, Miss Nellie," she said evenly, "but men like him don't destroy their worlds for an affair." You're an intelligent woman. I think you know that. Then she hung up. Each word she had spoken struck like a whip. She was right. I had been deluding myself. In the world's eyes, I was not a soulmate, just someone's secret, a middle-aged woman clinging to a late, fragile love affair. Letting go, I didn't call him. A few days later, he came exhausted, guilty. His wife had confronted him. "I'm sorry," he murmured. "I never meant for her to find you." I looked at him and surprisingly felt calm. The storm had settled. "Hatton," I said quietly, "it's time to end this." He tried to object, spoke of fixing things, but I only smiled sadly. "Fix how? Divorce? You won't. And I can't keep living like this." I thanked him for awakening me, for letting me feel desired. He understood. Our last embrace was long, sorrowful, chaste. Then he left my home and my life. A room of my own. Now, I live alone again. The house remains as he designed, warm, graceful, full of memory. Sometimes a hint of turpentine and cologne drifts by. My heart twinges, but mostly I feel peace. I never deleted his number, but we never spoke again. I read, travel, find quiet pleasure. The desire he awakened still lives within me, not as shame, but as proof I can feel, love, and be alive. I am still Nellie, the 45-year-old clerk, ordinary on the surface but changed. I loved and lost, faced pain, healed. Our affair was a storm. It wrecked my calm but left the ground fertile. I didn't gain love or ruin, but something rarer. Myself. Now, within the quiet of my own room, lives a woman who has learned finally to love herself.